them in.
Smith is the frontman of the punk group The Fall. The great John Peel was one of his backers, and he's one of Stewart Lee's favourite musicians. So we set up what apparently is a rare interview in Smith's hometown, Salford.
Ladies and gentlemen, train will shortly be arriving into Manchester Piccadilly.
This year, vast swathes of the BBC relocated to Manchester, but Marquis Smith of the cult rock band The Fall has always lived there. So we went up to Manchester on a train full of BBC employees to ask him about the state of the nation, the state of Manchester, and the highlights of his cultural year. We met in the local next to the studio where he works. Last time I was in Manchester for any length of time, I noticed it was almost like becoming around the Hacienda where there used to be, you know, you were now in apartments that have been built in old mills, and like it's becoming a sort of museum of itself in a way.
Oh, definitely. Let's be going for a bit. I go to Manchester less than I ever did. But they just got the media city over here. Yeah. It's like the mountain coming to Mohammed, isn't it?
It is. Well, it is, isn't it? But
because I used to work, where they built it, is the dock I used to work on in 1977.
Yeah.
Number 9 dock,
Yeah, and that's now media city.
That's why I left to go to London.
Yeah. And now it's come back. Yeah, you used to go from there to do Peel sessions. Now, if it was still happening, you'd be doing it in the dock where you used to work. Stop it. The BBC Media Village is sort of a Salford, isn't it? I mean, that's quite distinct to Manchester in a lot of people's mind, isn't it?
Yeah. I suppose, yeah.
Do you think that the psychology that produced the Fall and your work is distinct to Manchester, or is it distinct to a Manchester that's now being changed?
Well, I mean, it was always Salford orientated, the group. Not anymore, but and I never wanted to sort of make it political and all that. So I never wanted to get into that Manchester thing, you know. To a lot of people, I'm still that fella who can't make Top of the Pops, you know what I mean? Curious around. Curious around.
My mum's was always like that with comedy, because I wasn't on any of the programmes that she watched, so...
My dad was like...
Yeah, exactly, you'd say that, yeah.
I'm like, Dad, I'm #1 in New Zealand. I know.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Yeah.
Just keep telling yourself that.
That's right.
I'm a Smith, man, you know, I've always been at the back of the class. I never wanted to. You know.
Yeah, but you could...
But one of the great advantages of being a Smith, no?
Yeah.
There was always 5 Smiths in every class in my school, so they always used to get you confused. Great advantage.
When I was reading The Enemy in my teens, there was a sort of holier-than-thou punk thing about you didn't do adverts, you didn't put stuff out there to be used in a way that the artist hadn't originally intended, you know, and it was a sellout and whatever. And I sort of bought into that as a kid, but weirdly, as soon as Touch Sensitive was on that car advert, I thought, well, I hope that shifts some bills for them. I didn't have any sense of that old mentality about you having to hang on to the purity of it. How did you feel about it being used for that?
Well, first off, I didn't get any money for it, no.
What, for the car advert?
No.
What, because that was a dispute about who wrote
Well,
it?
I was bankrupt or something. I went bankrupt about
right.
So
it went to the receivers?
No, it went to the record label.
And then when you see Iggy Pop in an insurance advert, does that make you like Iggy Pop's music?
I don't know. I think he deserves it, really.
Yeah.
You know, I understand that.
Yeah.
It's very funny, that, actually. It's a small moment.
There's a puppet of him.
I got this package, and it was a cover of the Marshall Suite, and it was an autograph from Iggy Pop. The only autograph from me one.
Well, when you're on at Glastonbury with Gorillaz, right, and there's camera coverage projecting you...
Yeah, loads of people. Yeah, you're one of them Glasgow, babe, aren't you? I've been banned from Glastonbury 3 times, so I've only got... That's the only reason I was on it. And me and all the soul guys, you know, like Bobby Womack, we're all put in this, like, schoolroom, separate. You know, Bobby Brown and Bobby Womack, we much preferred it. But they were all talking weird, you know, like the class blokes. Hi, there's a barrier there. You're not Glasgow, you know what I mean? And then the rest of them were all in this Camelot thing where they have a bonfire and all this, and they all sleep in beds together. Have a barbecue, vegetarian barbecue.
Was doing Glastonbury with Gorillas the highlight of your year?
Yeah.
Doesn't sound like it.
Pseudo-mystics. I'm the real deal, matey.
It was the glitter freeze. Doctor, listen. You wouldn't credit, I believe.
Margie Smith of The Fall there, talking to today's guest editor, Stewart Lee. And Stewart Lee is here with us in the studio. And I'm just looking at a tweet which says, loving Margie Smith on today, if only because he'll baffle 90% of the listeners.
Well, it was. I mean, he talked to us for about 40 minutes, and it was really, really funny and really interesting. I mean, you'd like to run the whole thing, but I think it probably is a cut-off point for many today listeners.
It is. I mean, it's been a chance to meet some of your heroes as well, AS Bar.
Yeah, it was absolutely fantastic. I mean, it's been an incredible end to an amazing year. We had a little girl in January, and then I got to do some programming at the South Bank of stuff, and I got a new show on the go, and then doing this has been really great, and seeing how the programme works as well, actually.
Not to mention 2 awards from the British Comedy Awards.
Yeah, well, to be honest, before I came in this morning, I was a bit, you look at these